Hey guys, tonight we're exploring something strange, something almost forgotten. The title of this video is Why Cold Stone Bedrooms Made Sleep Deeper Than Ours. It sounds uncomfortable, doesn't it? Cold stone walls, cold floors, no heating vents, no insulation. And yet, for centuries, people may have slept deeper than we do today. So before we begin, I'm curious, right now, as you're listening to this, what city are you watching from? Comment below and let me know. I always love seeing where in the world these quiet night conversations are happening. Now settle in, because what we're about to uncover might completely change the way you think about your bedroom. Let's begin. Imagine it's winter. No central heating, no thermostat glowing softly on the wall, no hum of warm air moving through hidden vents, just stone, thick, solid, ancient stone walls. They hold the memory of the day's temperature, and at night, they release the cold. If you placed your hand against that wall, you'd feel it instantly. A steady, quiet coolness. Not sharp like ice, not shocking, but firm, stable, unmoving. Now imagine sleeping in a room like that. Most modern bedrooms are built to trap warmth. Drywall, insulation, double-pane glass, carpeted floors. The goal is comfort. But what if comfort, as we define it today, is slightly out of sync with our biology? Here's something most people don't realize. Your body needs to cool down to fall asleep, not just slightly. Your core temperature actually drops before and during sleep. It's one of the strongest biological signals that bedtime has arrived. In a modern heated bedroom, your body has to fight the environment to cool itself. In a stone bedroom, the environment helped. The walls absorbed heat during the day. At night, they radiated coolness back into the room. The floor remained cold. The air stayed crisp. And this constant coolness created something powerful, a natural signal to the brain that it was safe to power down. When your skin senses cooler air, blood vessels near the surface expand slightly to release heat. Your core temperature begins to drop. Melatonin increases. Sleep pressure builds. Now think about your bedroom tonight. Is it slightly warm? Maybe even cozy? That warmth feels pleasant while you're awake. But biologically it may be delaying the very thing you want most. Deep, uninterrupted sleep. Stone walls did something modern. Drywall cannot. They stabilize temperature naturally. Stone has high thermal mass. That means it changes temperature slowly. It doesn't swing wildly from warm to cold. It holds steady. And the nervous system loves steady. Modern homes fluctuate constantly. Heating systems turn on, turn off. Air vents hum. Temperature shifts subtly. You may not consciously notice it, but your body does. Even small environmental instability can keep parts of the brain slightly alert. Stone rooms were predictable. At night, they were always cool, always quiet, always still. No mechanical systems cycling, no hidden airflow. Just the slow release of cold from ancient walls. There's another layer here. Cold environments reduce microbial growth and odours. That means the air in a cold stone bedroom often felt cleaner. Heavier perhaps, but cleaner. Cooler air is denser. Denser air feels different in the lungs. Slower. More grounded. Breathing becomes deeper without effort, and breathing rhythm directly affects sleep depth. Slow breathing signals safety. Safety allows the brain to descend into deeper stages of sleep. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Modern sleep advice often focuses on mattress quality. Pillow ergonomics, blackout curtains, white noise machines, all helpful. But ancient sleep was shaped first by architecture, by walls, by materials, by the raw physics of stone and air. The building itself created the sleep environment, and buildings made of stone behave very differently at night. During the day, sunlight warms the outer layers, but thick stone doesn't heat all the way through. When night falls, surface warmth fades quickly, and the room becomes cooler than the outside air at certain points. This natural drop reinforces circadian rhythm. Your brain evolved in environments like this, not climate-controlled boxes, not synthetic materials trapping artificial heat, but natural structures that responded to sun and darkness. We've been sleeping in temperature-regulated environments for only a tiny fraction of human history. Evolution moves slowly, architecture changed fast, and sometimes when environment changes faster than biology, friction appears. That friction can show up as light sleep, frequent waking, restlessness, difficulty falling asleep. Now imagine lying in that stone bedroom. The fire downstairs has gone out. The last embers glow faintly. The walls are cool. The floor beneath the bed remains cold and solid. You're wrapped in thick wool. The air touches your face lightly. Cool, but not unbearable. That contrast is important. Your body is warm under layers. Your face feels cool air. This combination is one of the strongest natural sleep triggers known to human biology. Warm core, cool air, darkness, stillness. Modern bedrooms often eliminate contrast. Everything is uniformly warm. Uniform warmth feels pleasant, but it reduces temperature signaling, and temperature signaling is critical for deep sleep. There's also psychological impact. Stone feels permanent, unmoving, protective. A thick stone wall feels like protection against the outside world. Safety isn't just emotional, it's structural. When your environment feels solid and secure, the brain relaxes its guard. Deep sleep requires surrender, and surrender requires safety. Modern lightweight construction doesn't always feel the same. Thin walls transmit sound easily. Temperature shifts are noticeable. Environmental cues are more volatile. Your subconscious registers that, even if you don't consciously think about it. Stone bedrooms were acoustically different too. Thick walls absorbed external noise. Outside wind became muffled. Voices didn't travel as easily. Silence wasn't absolute, but it was heavy, dense, and that density reduces hypervigilance. Hypervigilance is the enemy of deep sleep. It keeps the brain scanning for threat. Cold stone rooms were quiet and stable enough to reduce that scanning behaviour. There's another overlooked element. Cold stone floors discouraged unnecessary nighttime movement. You didn't wander barefoot across the room. You stayed under blankets. You stayed still. And stillness deepens sleep. Movement breaks sleep cycles. A slightly colder environment encourages cocooning. Cocooning increases REM stability. It increases slow-wave sleep. Modern overheated rooms encourage tossing, turning, kicking blankets off, then pulling them back on. Every small movement fragments rest. Stone rooms encourage containment. Containment encourages depth. Now think about the phrase, made sleep deeper than ours. It sounds dramatic, but when you layer together, cool air, stable temperature, dense silence, structural safety, natural darkness, heavy bedding, it becomes less dramatic and more logical. Deep sleep isn't about luxury. It's about alignment. An ancient stone architecture aligned surprisingly well with human biology at night. The way stone walls slowly released it into the room. The way cool air helped the body lower its core temperature. The way stability encouraged surrender. But temperature was only half the story. Because cold stone bedrooms didn't just change the air. They changed the darkness. And darkness inside a stone room feels different than darkness anywhere else. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. A medieval stone chamber. No streetlights outside, no passing headlights, no LED indicators glowing softly from devices. The only light source was fire, and when the fire went out, darkness arrived completely. Not dim, not shadowed, not bluish, complete. Modern darkness is rarely total. Even blackout curtains allow faint light bleed. Even small electronics emit subtle glows. Your brain is incredibly sensitive to light, even tiny amounts. Melatonin production depends on darkness being real. Stone architecture amplified darkness. Thick walls blocked moonlight almost entirely unless there was a window, and medieval windows were small, often just narrow openings, sometimes covered with shutters. Glass was rare in earlier centuries. When shutters closed, the room became sealed from light. Stone absorbs light. It doesn't reflect it the way white drywall does. Modern bedrooms often have light-coloured paint. Light reflects around the room, even at low levels. Stone, especially rough stone, eats light. It swallows it. That changes how your eyes and brain interpret the environment. In a stone bedroom, once light faded, your pupils expanded fully. Your visual cortex reduced activity, and your brain received a clear signal. Night has arrived. Darkness isn't just absence of light, it's a biological event. When darkness deepens, melatonin rises. Melatonin doesn't just make you sleepy, it coordinates the entire sleep cycle. It regulates body temperature drop, it supports immune function, it influences REM timing, but melatonin is fragile. Even small light exposure can suppress it. In modern homes, ambient light often lingers late into the evening. Streetlights leak through curtains. Bathroom lights flash briefly. Phones glow inches from the face. But in a stone bedroom centuries ago, darkness was decisive. There was no gradual fade into dim stimulation. When firelight ended, night fully claimed the room. This created a powerful circadian anchor. Your brain loves anchors, predictable signals that repeat daily. Sunset, darkness, cool air, silence. Stone architecture strengthened all of them simultaneously. Now consider something subtle. Darkness inside stone walls felt enclosed, protected. Enclosed darkness feels different from open darkness. If you stand outside at night, darkness can feel vast, expansive, sometimes even slightly unsettling. But inside thick stone walls, darkness felt contained, safe. Your brain distinguishes between exposed darkness and sheltered darkness. One triggers alertness, the other triggers surrender. Sheltered darkness reduces amygdala activation, the region responsible for detecting threats. When the amygdala quiets, deeper sleep stages are more accessible. Stone walls created a physical boundary between you and the unknown outside. Wind might blow, snow might fall. But it happened beyond the barrier, and barriers create psychological safety. Modern walls are thinner. Noise travels more easily. Light penetrates more subtly. Even if your room is technically dark, your brain may still register faint signals of outside activity. Cars, streetlights, distant traffic glow. Your subconscious processes these cues even if you don't consciously notice them. In stone bedrooms, sensory input was drastically reduced. Reduced input means reduced processing. Reduced processing allows deeper descent into non-REM sleep. Let's talk about visual stimulation. Before electricity, evenings were dim by default. Candlelight and firelight flicker. They don't blast consistent brightness. Flickering light doesn't suppress melatonin the way blue spectrum LED light does. Firelight is warm, rich in reds and oranges, minimal blue wavelength. Blue light directly affects circadian rhythm by signaling daytime. Firelight whispers, screens shout. Now imagine the sequence. Evening comes. Firelight glows softly against stone. Light reflects unevenly across rough surfaces. Shadows deepen gradually. Eventually the fire burns low. The last light flickers, then fades. Darkness expands smoothly across the walls. Your eyes adjust. Your mind quiets. There's no abrupt switch. No overhead bulb turning off suddenly. The transition from light to dark was slow and natural. Gradual transitions reduce stress. Abrupt transitions can jolt the nervous system. Stone surfaces enhanced this gradual fading effect. They diffused the light. They prevented harsh glare. Modern paint often reflects light sharply. Stone absorbs and softens it. This difference shapes mood more than we realize. Mood shapes sleep onset. Now think about sensory deprivation. In controlled studies, Reduced light and sound increase slow-wave sleep. Stone rooms unintentionally created mild sensory deprivation. Not total silence, not total isolation, but lower stimulation compared to modern environments. Less stimulation equals less cortical activity. Lower cortical activity makes it easier to transition into stage 3 sleep, the deepest restorative phase. And stage 3 is where physical repair happens. Growth hormone release increases, cellular restoration accelerates, immune system recalibrates. Deep sleep is not a luxury stage, it's essential. The darker and cooler the environment, the stronger the signal to enter it. There's another layer, expectation. If you grow up in an environment where night equals total darkness, your brain associates darkness with sleep automatically. No negotiation, no scrolling, no optional stimulation. Darkness becomes permission. In modern life, darkness is optional. We can override it at any time with a switch. That ability weakens the association between dark and sleep. Stone bedrooms restored that association nightly. Darkness wasn't something you fought, it was something you accepted. Acceptance lowers cognitive arousal. Cognitive arousal delays sleep. Stone environments reduced opportunities for arousal. Now consider anxiety. Many people today struggle with nighttime anxiety. Why? Because when lights go off, the mind suddenly becomes active. Modern evenings are packed with stimulation. When stimulation stops abruptly, the brain rebounds with thought. Ancient evenings were slower, dim light, minimal activity, gradual quiet. By the time darkness arrived, mental stimulation had already decreased significantly. Stone walls didn't just block light, they supported ritual, and ritual stabilizes the nervous system. Light fades, fire dims, blankets layered, silence settles. These repeated cues teach the brain what comes next. Sleep. Consistency builds efficiency. Your brain becomes better at falling asleep in familiar conditions. Stone bedrooms were consistent year after year. Modern bedrooms change frequently. New lighting, new devices, new noises. Even small inconsistencies can keep the brain slightly alert. Stone architecture was unchanging. It created a stable sensory baseline. Stability equals safety. Safety equals depth. There's also a fascinating acoustic effect. Stone absorbs certain frequencies and dampens echo differently than drywall. Sound inside a stone chamber feels thick, rounded, less sharp. Sharp sounds activate alertness. Rounded sounds feel distant. Distance reduces perceived threat. Even wind outside a stone wall sounds muted, muffled. Your brain interprets muffled noise as controlled, and controlled environments encourage surrender. Now let's bring this back to you. Tonight, after this video ends, notice your darkness. Is it total or layered with faint glow? Notice the walls. Are they reflecting light or absorbing it? Notice how your room transitions from evening to night. Is it abrupt or gradual? Because sleep depth isn't just about comfort, it's about signal strength. Cold stone bedrooms strengthen the signal of night. They made darkness unmistakable, and when the signal is strong, the body responds fully. There's something we haven't talked about yet. The floor, not the blankets, not the walls, not even the darkness, the ground itself. In a medieval stone bedroom, the floor was often made of packed earth, stone slabs, or rough wooden planks laid directly over cold ground. No insulation, no thick padding, no carpet trapping warmth. At night that floor became cold, consistently cold, and even if you never touched it directly while sleeping, it influenced the entire room. Cold air sinks, warm air rises. That's basic physics. In a stone room with a cold floor, the lower half of the room remained cooler than the upper half. This created a subtle vertical temperature gradient. Your bed, usually elevated slightly off the floor, existed in a pocket of layered air. cooler near the face, warmer under blankets. This gradient is powerful. Your body doesn't just respond to overall temperature, it responds to differences. Contrast helps regulate autonomic function. When your face is exposed to slightly cooler air while your torso remains warm, the trigeminal nerve in your face sends signals to the brainstem. Cool facial exposure has been linked to activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest and digestion. The parasympathetic system slows heart rate, slows breathing, encourages relaxation. Modern bedrooms often eliminate this gradient. Heating systems distribute warmth evenly. Carpet insulates floors. Air becomes uniform. Uniform environments feel stable, but they reduce contrast, and contrast strengthens biological signaling. Now imagine lying in that stone room. You're wrapped tightly in wool. Your body is warm. Your face is slightly cool. Your breath moves in and out, touching cold air before entering your lungs. That cool air does something subtle. It slows breathing. Cooler air is denser. It feels heavier in the lungs. Breathing naturally becomes deeper, slower, and slow breathing directly affects heart rate variability. Higher heart rate variability is associated with deeper, more restorative sleep. It indicates that the nervous system is flexible and relaxed. In cold stone rooms, breathing patterns shifted naturally without conscious effort. Today, people download apps to train their breath before sleep. Ancient architecture did it passively. There's also the grounding effect. Stone floors connected directly to the earth. While scientific debate continues about the full extent of earthing benefits, one thing is clear. Being physically closer to natural materials changes perception. Wood, stone, earth. These materials feel different than synthetic flooring. They don't vibrate in the same way. They don't trap static electricity the same way. They don't radiate stored heat the same way. Natural materials create a sensory experience that feels stable, and stability reduces subconscious vigilance. Hypervigilance often shows up in modern sleep as micro-awakenings, tiny shifts in consciousness that fragment deep sleep. You don't remember them, but they reduce restoration. Cold floors reduced unnecessary nighttime wandering. If you woke briefly, you stayed under blankets, because stepping onto that cold surface would be uncomfortable, so people remained cocooned. Stillness is one of the most underestimated sleep enhancers. Movement increases cortical activity. Stillness allows deeper descent into slow-wave sleep. Cold stone floors encourage stillness. There's another layer: thermal mass. Stone floors and walls together create a thermal buffer. They absorb excess heat during the day and release it slowly. This slows down environmental fluctuations. Modern HVAC systems cause rapid microshifts in temperature. You may not consciously feel them, but your body detects them. The hypothalamus constantly monitors temperature. Small fluctuations can trigger subtle adjustments. Adjustment requires energy. Energy disrupts depth. Stone environments reduce the need for adjustment. They moved slowly, predictably. Now consider heart rate. Studies show that cooler sleep environments are associated with lower resting heart rate during the night. Lower heart rate during sleep correlates with increased deep sleep percentage. In overheated rooms, heart rate can remain slightly elevated. Even a small elevation matters over hours. In a cold stone bedroom, once under blankets, the body didn't need to fight excess warmth. The environment supported cooling. Cooling supports heart rate reduction. Reduced heart rate supports slow-wave sleep. Let's talk about microclimate. Under heavy wool blankets, your body created a warm pocket of air. Outside that pocket, the room remained cool. This difference created containment. Containment is psychologically soothing. Weighted blankets work on a similar principle. Pressure plus containment equals calm. Wool blankets were heavy, layered, dense. They provided natural compression. Cold air outside the blankets made that compression feel more protective. In a warm modern bedroom, blankets can feel optional. In a cold room, they feel essential. Essential objects become psychologically reassuring. Reassurance reduces cortisol. Cortisol disrupts sleep. Now imagine the sensory experience. Cool air on your nose, warmth around your body, dense silence, stone walls absorbing sound, cold floor grounding the room. All of these cues converge into one message. Night is here. It is safe to rest. The nervous system responds to layered cues more strongly than single cues. Modern sleep advice often focuses on one variable at a time: temperature, light, noise. But ancient stone bedrooms optimized multiple variables simultaneously. That synergy may be the key. Breathing slowed, heart rate decreased, movement reduced, darkness deepened, temperature stabilized. When all these align, sleep depth increases dramatically. There's something else: humidity. Stone structures often maintain slightly higher natural humidity compared to modern forced air heated homes. Dry air can irritate nasal passages. Irritation increases subtle wakefulness. Cooler, slightly humid air supports smoother breathing. Smooth breathing reduces nighttime arousals. Modern heated homes often dry out air significantly. Dry throat, dry nasal passages, micro-irritations. You don't wake fully, but your sleep fragments. Stone environments were cooler and more balanced in moisture. Balance equals fewer disturbances. Let's return to breathing. When air is cool, you instinctively breathe through the nose more often. Nasal breathing filters and humidifies air. It also increases nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide supports oxygen delivery and vascular relaxation. Vascular relaxation supports lower heart rate. Lower heart rate supports deeper sleep. Again, ancient architecture nudged biology in the right direction without conscious effort. It wasn't designed as a sleep optimization system, but it functioned like one. Now think about your bedroom tonight. Is the floor insulated, carpeted, warm? Does air feel still and slightly stale? Does heating cycle on and off? Does temperature feel uniform everywhere? Uniformity isn't bad, but sometimes subtle variation helps the body regulate itself. Cold stone floors created variation. Variation enhances signaling. Signaling enhances rhythm. Rhythm enhances depth. The body evolved in environments that change with the sun. Stone buildings still responded to those rhythms. Modern buildings override them. When we override natural rhythms, sleep can become shallow. Not always, but often. There's a reason sleep researchers recommend cooler rooms, typically between 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. That recommendation echoes ancient stone conditions more closely than modern overheated bedrooms. But temperature alone isn't the full story. It's the interaction between temperature, materials, sound, light, and expectation. Stone floors grounded the entire system. They anchored the room in physical reality. No buzzing electronics, no synthetic hum, just gravity, just earth. And gravity itself may influence perception of safety. When you feel grounded, physically and psychologically, your brain relaxes. Stone floors felt immovable, permanent. There's something reassuring about immovable surfaces. In a world of unpredictability, immovable structures reduce threat perception. Reduced threat perception equals deeper sleep. As we move forward, we're going to examine something even more subtle. How living inside thick stone walls changed not just the body, but the mind's relationship with night. Because architecture doesn't just shape temperature, it shapes psychology, and psychology shapes sleep more than most people realize. Now we move deeper. Tonight, we step inside the walls themselves, because the secret was never just the cold, it was the architecture. Stone was not random. Medieval sleeping spaces were not accidental. They were engineered by climate, necessity, and physics, long before modern sleep science explained why they work so well. And what you're about to realize might change how you see your own bedroom forever. Stone walls were natural temperature regulators. Let's imagine a small medieval stone chamber. Thick walls, small window, heavy wooden door, no heating vents, no electric systems, no insulation foam, just stone. Now here's something powerful. Stone has thermal mass. That means it absorbs heat slowly and releases it slowly. During the day, sunlight warms the outer walls, but the inside stays cool because the stone buffer's temperature swings. At night, the walls do not suddenly radiate artificial heat. They stay steady, stable, calm, and your body loves stability at night. Modern homes, thin drywall, synthetic insulation, air conditioning blasting on and off, heaters cycling every 20 minutes. Your bedroom temperature fluctuates constantly. Your nervous system notices, even if you don't. Ancient stone rooms stayed quietly consistent, and consistent temperature equals deeper sleep. Cold floors anchored the body's heat drop. Now, let's talk about the floors. Cold stone floors. When bare feet touched them, the body immediately reacted. A gentle cooling signal travelled upward, and something interesting happened. The body began preparing for rest. Because your brain associates cooling with nighttime. Even today, sleep scientists recommend lowering bedroom temperature before bed. But medieval rooms didn't lower temperature. They were already cool, naturally. Stone floors slowly pulled warmth from the body, not dangerously, just subtly. And that gentle cooling helped. Lower core temperature, slow metabolism, reduce heart rate, encourage melatonin release, all without technology, no thermostat needed. Thick walls, silence the world. Sleep depth isn't only temperature, it's also sound. Stone walls are dense. Dense materials absorb and block sound waves. Medieval stone chambers were surprisingly quiet inside. No traffic noise, no neighbours walking upstairs, no electronics humming, no fridge compressor starting. Just wind outside, maybe distant animals. And inside, stillness. Sound pollution today keeps the brain semi-alert. Even low-level background noise keeps the nervous system slightly vigilant. Stone reduced acoustic chaos, and that meant the brain could fully drop into deep sleep. Small windows, controlled light exposure. Modern bedrooms have large windows. Streetlights leak in. Headlights flash across ceilings. Phone screens glow inches from faces. Stone chambers had tiny windows, sometimes just slits, and once the sun went down, darkness. True darkness. And darkness is not just absence of light, it is a biological signal. Melatonin rises sharply in total darkness. In medieval rooms there was no light bleed, no standby LEDs, no glowing clocks, only blackness. The kind that allows REM sleep to stretch longer, the kind that deepens slow-wave sleep. Airflow was slow and natural. Stone rooms breathed differently. They were not airtight, but they were not drafty either. Air entered slowly through cracks and small openings. This meant gentle oxygen exchange, no forced air systems, no dry heated air blast in the face. Modern HVAC systems create artificial air currents, subtle but stimulating. Your skin feels airflow. Your nervous system stays slightly alert. Stone chambers allowed air to move quietly, naturally. Your body stayed undisturbed. Elevated beds plus cold surroundings. People often think medieval sleep meant lying directly on cold stone. Not always. Beds were often elevated wooden frames, straw mattresses, wool blankets. So here's what happened. The room stayed cool, but the bed held warmth. This created a perfect temperature gradient. Cool air around you, warm cocoon inside blankets. This contrast is ideal for sleep. Your face and airway stay cool. Your core stays warm. Even today, sleep experts recommend cool air plus warm bedding. Medieval architecture already created it. Why modern bedrooms overheat? Now let's compare. Modern bedrooms often trap heat. Foam mattresses retain warmth. Synthetic blankets reduce airflow. Electronics emit subtle heat. Closed insulated walls hold warmth inside. Your body struggles to cool, and when the body struggles to cool, sleep becomes shallow. You may not wake up, but your deep sleep shortens. You shift more. You micro-awaken, and in the morning, you feel unrested. Cold stone architecture avoided overheating naturally. Stone-induced psychological calm. There's another layer here. Stone feels permanent, grounded, stable. Your nervous system responds to stability. Thick walls feel protective, like being inside the earth. Psychologists today call this environmental containment. Spaces that feel solid reduce anxiety. Modern bedrooms sometimes feel temporary. Thin walls, light materials, noise passing through. Stone chambers felt ancient and secure, and a secure nervous system sleeps deeper. The role of humidity stone environments often maintained moderate humidity, not bone dry like heated modern homes. Dry air irritates nasal passages. Mild inflammation can disturb breathing patterns. Even small breathing disruptions reduce deep sleep. Stone rooms kept air balanced, not artificially humidified, just naturally stable. What we can learn today. You don't need a castle bedroom, but you can borrow the principles. Here are practical lessons from stone sleep. Keep your room cooler than daytime living areas. Block external light completely. Reduce artificial airflow at night. Use dense materials when possible. Silence electronics. Avoid overheating your mattress. Create a sense of enclosure and calm. You can't rebuild stone walls overnight, but you can recreate their effect. The deeper insight. Cold stone bedrooms weren't superior because people were tougher. They were superior because they aligned with biology. The architecture cooperated with circadian rhythm. It respected temperature cycles. It respected darkness. It respected stillness. Modern design prioritizes convenience. Ancient design prioritized survival and climate adaptation. Ironically, survival design may have produced better sleep. Imagine sleeping. There, picture it. A small stone chamber, candle extinguished, air cool, silence heavy, wool blanket wrapped around you, stone walls steady and unmoving, no notifications, no glowing screens, no artificial warmth, just breath, slow, even, deep, your body cooling, your brain quieting, your muscles loosening, sleep arriving like a tide, not forced, not chased, just natural. Tonight, we step into something modern people rarely experience. True silence, not quiet, not low volume, but deep physical silence. The kind of silence that wraps around your nervous system and slowly turns it off. Imagine a medieval stone bedroom. No traffic outside, no electric hum, no refrigerator vibration, no distant engines, no notification sounds, just stone. Cold stone walls, a small slit window, maybe a faint wind, and your own breathing. That's it. Now here's the question. What if ancient sleep wasn't deeper because of cold alone, but because of the absence of constant micronoise? Let's explore something most people never think about. The modern brain never rests from sound. Even when you think your room is quiet, it isn't. There's always AC humming, fan spinning, distant vehicles, phone charging buzz, electrical frequencies, neighbours moving, background city vibration. Your brain doesn't consciously notice all of this, but your nervous system does. And here's the truth. Your brain evolved in environments with long stretches of natural silence. Stone rooms, countryside air, distant wind, occasional animal sounds. Not 24/7 mechanical vibration. The difference between natural sound and mechanical sound. Ancient environments had wind-fire crackling, distant insects, occasional animal calls. These sounds are irregular, soft, organic. They don't repeat at exact intervals. Modern sound? Continuous hum, repeating engine rhythm, high-frequency electronics, sharp notification pings. These trigger micro-alert responses in your brain. Even during sleep, your body stays slightly guarded, and guarded sleep is shallow sleep. Stone walls absorbed chaos. Cold stone rooms weren't just cold, they were insulated from chaotic noise. Thick stone walls block vibration. They absorb echo. They reduce outside disturbance. Imagine 2-foot thick stone around you. No traffic penetrates that easily. No loud neighbours, just stillness. Your brain doesn't need to scan for danger, and when the brain stops scanning, it allows deeper sleep cycles. The micro-arousal problem. Modern sleep studies show something important. Even if you don't wake up fully, your brain partially wakes dozens of times per night. These are called micro-arousals, tiny disruptions, sometimes caused by sound shifts, temperature change, light flicker, internal stress. Now imagine adding low-level city noise all night. Your brain reacts slightly, again and again, even if you never remember it. Ancient stone bedrooms had far fewer triggers, which means fewer micro-arousals, which means longer uninterrupted deep sleep cycles. The psychological safety of silence. When it's truly quiet, your body receives a signal. You're safe. Ancient humans understood something instinctively. Sleep requires safety, and safety requires control over your environment. Stone bedrooms provided enclosure, protection, stability, acoustic isolation. It wasn't luxury, it was survival architecture. Your nervous system loves enclosure. That's why many people sleep better in smaller rooms, or under heavy blankets, or in cabins. Stone rooms amplified this effect, why echo matters. Modern bedrooms often have hard flat walls, glass windows, empty space. Sound bounces around, creates subtle echo. You may not notice consciously, but your brain maps space using echo. Stone bedrooms with thick walls and minimal openings absorbed echo differently. Sound became dull, muted, less sharp, and sharp sound equals alertness. Dull sound equals calm, the absence of artificial light plus noise combo. Here's something powerful. Artificial light and artificial noise together keep your brain semi-awake. Ancient rooms had candlelight, soft flicker, fire glow, total darkness after flame died, no LEDs, no streetlights through curtains, no flashing router lights, no standby electronics. When darkness plus silence combine, melatonin rises fully, deep sleep increases, your body enters restoration mode. Stone walls blocked outside light pollution too. Imagine that level of darkness, pitch black, no glow, your brain sinks. The temperature plus silence combination. Cold air slows metabolism slightly. Silence reduces alertness. Darkness increases melatonin. Now combine all three. Cold, silence, darkness. Stone bedrooms naturally created this trio. Modern bedrooms often create the opposite. Warm, noisy, artificially lit. Which environment would promote deeper sleep? Your body still prefers the ancient combination. The role of wind. Let's imagine you're in a stone chamber. There's a narrow window slit. Wind passes occasionally, not constant, just soft, irregular, natural. Natural wind sound does something important. It signals distance. It signals openness beyond the walls, but it doesn't trigger threat. That's calming. Compare that to city sirens, or late-night bikes, or horns. Your brain shifts into alert mode instantly, even if you don't wake fully. The ritual of night in stone rooms. Ancient nights had structure. Fire dimming, door closing, candles out, silence spreading. Sleep wasn't interrupted by scrolling. There was no, just one more video. Once darkness came, there was nothing else to do. Stone walls sealed the night in. You surrendered to it. Modern rooms allow endless stimulation. Ancient rooms encouraged surrender, and surrender is required for deep sleep. Why complete silence feels uncomfortable today? Here's something interesting. Many modern people say, "I can't sleep in complete silence." Why? Because your nervous system is now used to background noise. Your brain has adapted to constant low-level stimulation. Silence feels unfamiliar, but unfamiliar doesn't mean unnatural. It means you've forgotten it. Ancient humans didn't need white noise machines. Silence was the baseline, the weight of stone. Even psychologically, stone feels stable. It doesn't move. It doesn't creak like wood as much. It doesn't flex. It stands. That solidity subconsciously signals protection. Protection reduces cortisol. Reduced cortisol improves deep sleep. Your body relaxes deeper inside solid walls. Imagine tonight. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you're in a small stone room, thick walls, cool air, no hum, no lights, no devices, just still darkness. Your breathing slows, your shoulders drop, your jaw unclenches, your mind stops scanning. That's what many ancient people experienced nightly, not as a luxury, but as normal life. What this means for us. We don't need stone castles, but we can learn. Reduce artificial noise before sleep, block external sound, lower temperature slightly, remove LED lights, limit late-night stimulation. We cannot recreate medieval life, but we can borrow its sleep wisdom. Cold plus silence plus darkness equals deeper restoration. Stone bedrooms accidentally mastered this. Modern bedrooms often fight it, and maybe, just maybe, the reason ancient people slept deeper wasn't because they were tougher. It was because their environment allowed surrender, and surrender is the doorway to deep sleep. It wasn't just the stone walls. It wasn't only the cold. It was the ritual of night air. Imagine a medieval bedroom. No electric hum, no sealed windows, no artificial airflow. Instead, a narrow opening in the wall, not fully open, not fully closed, just enough to let the night breathe inside. That small crack changed everything. Modern bedrooms are often sealed like containers, temperature controlled, air recycled, windows shut tight to keep out dust, sound, pollution. But stone bedrooms breathed. Cold air slowly slipped inside. Warm breath drifted outward. And through that gentle exchange, the body relaxed more deeply than we do today. The cooling of the mind. When night air enters a cold stone room, something subtle happens. The air temperature drops slightly. Humidity changes. Oxygen levels feel fresher. Your body senses it instantly. Deep inside your brain sits a tiny region called the hypothalamus. It controls temperature. When it detects cooling skin and fresh air, it begins preparing the body for sleep. Heart rate slows, melatonin rises, muscles soften, the mind feels safe. Not because it is warm, but because it is naturally cooling. In medieval times, this cooling wasn't an accident. It was expected. Families understood something simple. Let the night in. They didn't fight the darkness. They didn't seal themselves away from it. They allowed air, scent, and silence to enter. And that gentle exposure strengthened sleep. The sound of the outside world. Think about what entered through that small stone opening. A distant owl, wind brushing against trees, the faint echo of hooves on far ground, soft rain tapping the outer wall. These weren't disturbances, they were reassurance. The brain evolved to relax when it hears predictable, natural patterns. Modern noise, traffic, sirens, buzzing electronics, keeps the nervous system alert. But ancient night sounds were rhythmic, soft, repeating. They told the mind, all is normal, all is safe, and so sleep deepened. Stone as a temperature anchor. Here is something fascinating. Stone walls don't change temperature quickly. They absorb warmth slowly during the day. They release it slowly at night. This creates stability. Even when outside air grows colder, the stone buffers the change. The result? A steady coolness. Not sharp, not shocking, just consistently calm. Modern heating systems create cycles. Warm, then off, then warm again. That fluctuation subtly disturbs sleep. Stone rooms did the opposite. They created gentle, predictable cooling. The body loves predictability. It rests more deeply when it knows nothing sudden will happen. Blankets were not the enemy. Many people imagine medieval sleep as uncomfortable. Cold stone, thin bedding, harsh nights. But here is the truth. They layered warmth over coolness. The room was cold. The bed was warm. Heavy wool blankets trapped body heat. Straw mattresses insulated from below. Fur coverings added softness. So the air around the face remained cool, while the body remained warm. This contrast is powerful. Modern sleep science now confirms it. Cool air around the head improves sleep depth. Warm extremities help you fall asleep faster. They instinctively practiced what science later discovered. Why? Cool air makes dreams deeper. When the body cools, the brain shifts into slow-wave sleep more efficiently. Slow-wave sleep is the deepest stage. It is where the body repairs, where memories settle, where hormones rebalance. Overheated rooms interrupt this stage, but cool stone air encourages it. Breathing slightly cooler air slows respiration. Breath becomes deeper, longer, more rhythmic, and rhythm is the language of sleep. The psychology of exposure. There is another reason cold stone bedrooms work so well. They were not fully separated from the world. You could still sense the outside, and that created a feeling of groundedness. Modern rooms isolate us completely. Artificial lighting, artificial sound, artificial climate. The brain never fully disconnects. But when a person lies in a room where night air enters naturally, the mind feels part of something larger. The forest, the sky, the darkness itself. That feeling reduces anxiety. It quiets racing thoughts. It reminds the nervous system, you're not trapped, you're connected, and connection reduces stress. The gentle drop before dawn. Perhaps the most important moment of medieval sleep came just before sunrise. Temperatures dropped to their lowest point right before dawn. In a stone bedroom, this drop would be felt gently, not sharply, not painfully, just enough to deepen sleep in the early morning hours. That is when REM sleep becomes strongest. Dreaming intensifies. The mind processes emotion. Cool dawn air may have strengthened this phase, which means their dreams were richer, more vivid, more restorative. No artificial heat traps. Modern bedrooms often trap heat. Memory foam mattresses, thick synthetic blankets, closed windows, central heating. Heat builds gradually through the night. You don't notice it consciously, but your body does. It tosses, it shifts, it micro-wakes. Stone rooms allowed excess warmth to escape naturally. Air moved, heat dissipated. The body stayed within its ideal sleep temperature range, and so awakenings were fewer. Sleep cycles flowed uninterrupted. The night breeze effect. Sometimes, a soft breeze would drift through the stone opening. Just a slight movement of air, enough to brush across the skin. This tiny airflow stimulates temperature-sensitive receptors on the face. These receptors send calming signals to the brain. The same way gentle wind on a warm evening feels soothing. This is something we rarely experience indoors today. But in stone bedrooms, it happened every night. Nature itself acted as a sleep aid. Why modern bedrooms feel stuffy? Let's compare. Today, bedrooms are often insulated tightly, climate-controlled, quiet but artificial, temperature steady but dry. At first, this sounds ideal, but the human nervous system evolved outdoors, in caves, in huts, in stone shelters. Airflow was constant, temperatures shifted gradually, scents changed with the wind. Total environmental stability is not natural to us. Subtle change is. stone bedrooms provided subtle change. Modern rooms often remove it entirely. The role of scent night air carries scent. Wet earth, distant fire smoke, rain on soil, cold grass. These scents signal safety and familiarity to the brain. Smell connects directly to memory and emotion. When medieval sleepers inhaled night air, their nervous systems associated those scents with daily life, community, and survival. That familiarity calmed them. Today, many bedrooms are scent neutral, or worse, filled with artificial fragrance. But the scent of real night air carried grounding information. It told the body, this is home. The fear of cold versus the power of cool. We often confuse cold with discomfort, but there is a difference between harsh cold and gentle coolness. Harsh cold shocks the body. Gentle coolness invites stillness. Stone bedrooms were rarely freezing. They were cool, and coolness slows metabolism slightly. Lower metabolic rate equals less internal heat production. Less heat equals deeper rest. It's a quiet chain reaction. The ritual of closing the shutters. Evening routines mattered. As night approached, shutters were partially closed, not sealed, just adjusted. That act itself became a signal. When the shutters close, we rest. Ritual strengthens sleep. The brain loves repetition. Every night the same movement, the same air, the same dimming fire. This consistency trained their bodies. Sleep became automatic. Today our nights vary wildly. Screens, late meals, random temperature adjustments. The ritual is gone, and with it, the predictability that deep sleep depends on. Breathing in the dark, let's imagine lying there. Stone behind you, wool blanket over you, cool air brushing your face. You inhale slowly. The air is crisp, slightly cold in the nostrils. Exhale. Warm breath rises and fades. Inhale again. That contrast between cool inhale and warm exhale creates awareness of breathing. Without trying, breath becomes deeper, and deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest mode. They didn't practice breathing exercises. They didn't need to. The environment guided them. The fire's final glow. Most stone bedrooms shared space with a hearth nearby. By bedtime, the fire would not be blazing, only embers. This matters. Bright firelight stimulates alertness, but dim ember glow creates soft flicker. Flicker at low intensity relaxes the mind. As the fire faded, so did stimulation. Light decreased gradually. Temperature decreased gradually. Sound decreased gradually. Everything tapered. Sleep loves tapering. Modern lighting shuts off instantly. Modern heating stays constant. Modern noise continues. There is no taper, but medieval nights tapered naturally. What we lost. It wasn't just architecture. It was exposure. Exposure to night air, gradual cooling, subtle sound, natural scent, environmental rhythm. When we sealed ourselves into climate-controlled boxes, we gained comfort. But perhaps we lost depth. Depth of breath. Depth of dreams. Depth of restoration. Bringing it back here is something powerful. You don't need a stone castle. You don't need medieval walls. You only need small adjustments. Slightly cooler room temperature. A crack in the window. Heavier natural blankets. Less artificial heat build-up. Even subtle airflow can recreate part of that ancient rhythm. Because your nervous system hasn't changed. It still responds to coolness. It still relaxes with night air. It still feels safe when darkness is gradual. The silent companion. Night air was their silent companion. Not an enemy, not an inconvenience, a partner in rest. It whispered through stone. It brushed across wool. It carried distant sounds of village life settling. And in that atmosphere, sleep unfolded deeply, unforced, uncomplicated, uninterrupted. Tonight, as you listen, imagine that stone window slightly open. Feel cool air against your face. Hear distant wind beyond thick walls. Picture heavy blankets keeping your body warm. Let your breathing slow. Let the temperature of the room drop just a little in your mind. Inhale coolness. Exhale warmth. Inhale stillness. Exhale tension. Because the secret of deepest sleep was never luxury. It was alignment. Alignment with night, with air, with rhythm. And that rhythm still exists. Even now, even here, in the quiet space where you're listening. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you're lying inside a medieval stone bedroom. No heater, no insulated walls, no double-glazed windows, just thick stone and winter air pressing gently against it. Now here's the surprising truth. Most people in pre-modern Europe and many other cold regions were sleeping in rooms that ranged between 2 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius, 35 degrees Fahrenheit to 50 degrees Fahrenheit during winter nights. And yet, they often describe their sleep as deep, heavy, and uninterrupted. So how did they survive it? And more importantly, why might that cold have helped them sleep better than we do today? Tonight, we explore the forgotten power of cold night air. 1. The myth, they must have been freezing all night. When we imagine a medieval stone room, we imagine discomfort. We imagine shivering. We imagine misery. But that's a modern projection. Because they didn't sleep the way we do. They didn't rely on heating the entire room. Instead, they focused on heating the body. And that difference changes everything. 2. Cold room, warm core. Let's understand something important. Your body does not need a warm room to sleep. It needs a slightly lowered core temperature, stable surrounding air, protected extremities, proper insulation close to the skin. In fact, modern sleep science shows that the ideal sleep environment temperature is around 16 to 19 degrees Celsius, 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. But pre-modern sleepers went even colder. Why didn't that disturb sleep? Because their bedding system was engineered differently. 3. The medieval sleep technology. They didn't heat the air. They built microclimates inside their beds. Here's what that meant. Thick feather mattresses, often filled with goose or duck down traps, heat extremely efficiently. Heavy wool blankets. Wool insulates even when slightly damp. It regulates temperature naturally. Bed curtains. Canopy beds weren't decorative. They trapped body heat inside a small enclosed space. Stone walls with thermal mass. Cold, yes, but stable. No temperature fluctuations. So instead of warming 300 cubic feet of air, they warmed a cocoon around their body, and that cocoon stayed warm. 4. Cold air and deep sleep. The science. Now let's connect this to biology. Your brain begins preparing for sleep when your core temperature drops slightly. This process is controlled by the hypothalamus, melatonin release, peripheral vasodilation, heat leaves through hands and feet. In a slightly cold room, the temperature drop happens naturally. The body doesn't fight overheating. Sleep onset happens faster. Modern overheated bedrooms, 22 to 24 degrees Celsius / 72 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, actually work against this natural drop, which means we are trying to sleep in environments that are biologically misaligned. They weren't. 5. The sound of cold. There's another forgotten element. Cold air is denser. Denser air absorbs and dampens certain high-frequency sounds differently. Medieval stone rooms were thick, heavy, echo-reducing, stable add cold, still air, and you get a quieter acoustic environment. No central heating hum, no air conditioning cycling, no electrical buzz, just wind occasionally outside, fire settling in the hearth, fabric rustling softly. Silence was deeper, and silence is a powerful sleep trigger. 6. Cold air means lower humidity. Heated modern rooms dry the air unnaturally. Dry air can cause throat irritation, light coughing, micro-awakenings, restless breathing. Medieval cold rooms had higher natural humidity balance. That means breathing felt different, calmer, less artificial. This alone can improve sleep depth. 7. The hormone shift in cold nights. Cold exposure triggers subtle hormonal changes. When you enter a cold environment at night, cortisol drops. Brown fat activation increases growth hormone release, may be optimized during deep sleep. Now, medieval people were not consciously activating brown fat, but their bodies were adapted. Repeated cold exposure builds resilience, and resilience stabilizes sleep. Modern life removes mild stresses, and without mild stress, our sleep can become fragile. 8. Why we fear cold today. We associate cold with discomfort because we're used to uniform heating. Our clothing is thinner indoors. Our metabolism adapts to warmth. We avoid seasonal variation. Medieval life embraced seasonal rhythm. Winter felt like winter. Summer felt like summer. And the body adjusted. Your circadian rhythm is seasonal by design. But modern heating flattens the year into one temperature, which confuses biological timing. 9. Stone walls, the unexpected advantage. Here's something counterintuitive. Stone walls are cold to the touch, but they are stable. Unlike drywall or insulated modern walls, they don't fluctuate rapidly. They don't trap dry heated air. They don't expand and contract quickly. That stability creates predictable thermal conditions, and predictability equals better sleep. Your nervous system relaxes when environments are stable, not constantly shifting. 10. The fire paradox. You might think, but didn't they use fireplaces? Yes, but not all night. Fires were often allowed to burn down before sleep. Rooms gradually cooled, so they fell asleep in warmth and slept through cooling air. That gradual drop is ideal for deep sleep cycles. Today, our heaters turn on and off automatically. Temperature spikes, temperature drops, air circulates, micro disturbances. 11. Cold and REM sleep. Emerging research suggests cooler sleep environments may improve REM duration. REM requires brain activation, muscle paralysis, stable oxygen levels. Overheating disrupts REM more than mild cold. Medieval sleepers rarely overheated. Heavy blankets regulated warmth locally. Air remained cool. Their REM cycles likely remained undisturbed by artificial heat spikes. 12. Cold air and immunity. Sleeping in cool environments may also support immune response, reduced inflammation, better respiratory efficiency. Modern overheated rooms can dry nasal passages, which increases vulnerability to irritation. Cold stone rooms, cool, yes, but stable, not artificially dried. 13. The psychological factor. Cold encourages closeness, closer bedding, closer posture, less sprawling. This creates a feeling of containment. Containment calms the nervous system. Your body feels protected. Modern large heated bedrooms, wide open, spacious, sometimes overstimulating. Bigger isn't always better for sleep. 14. Why your brain might miss the cold. Think about your day. Artificial light, artificial temperature, artificial air. By night, your nervous system is overloaded. Cold air signals something primal. Night has arrived. Darkness has deepened. Energy must lower. Cold strengthens that signal. Warm rooms blur it. 15. The evolutionary lens. For most of human history, we slept in cooler environments. Caves, stone dwellings, wood huts, earth homes. Central heating is barely 100 years old in common households. Our biology hasn't fully adapted. Deep sleep developed in cold environments. Maybe our bodies still expect it. 16. What this means for you. You don't need to live in a castle, but you might experiment with lowering bedroom temperature slightly, using heavier natural blankets, avoiding overheated air, allowing a gentle temperature drop at night. You may find sleep on set becomes faster, night awakenings reduce, morning grogginess softens because your body remembers. 17. The stillness of a stone. Night picture it again. A medieval sleeper wrapped in wool, breath visible in faint moonlight. Outside, frost forming. Inside, a cocoon of warmth. The room is cold, but the body is perfectly insulated. The air is still, the stone is steady, the mind quiets, and sleep goes deeper. If someone in modern America wakes up at 2:37 a.m., they assume something is wrong. Sleep disorder, stress, bad mattress, too much caffeine. But for most of human history, including early America, waking in the middle of the night was completely normal. It even had a name. First sleep and second sleep. Before electricity, before blue light, before late-night Netflix, nights in early America were long, dark and cold. And sleep didn't happen in one solid block. It came in two waves. Colonial America didn't sleep like we do. In 17th and 18th century America, especially in places like rural New England and frontier settlements, homes were cold at night. Stone foundations, wooden walls, no central heating, fireplaces that slowly died down after midnight. When the fire faded, temperatures dropped. People would fall asleep soon after sunset, their first sleep. Then, a few hours later, they naturally woke up. Not panicked, not stressed, just awake. They would sit near the fading embers, pray, journal, talk quietly, or simply rest. Then, after an hour or so, they would return to bed for their second sleep, often deeper and more restorative. Why cold rooms encourage this pattern? When rooms cooled significantly overnight, the body experienced a deeper temperature drop, stronger melatonin release, slower heart rate, calmer breathing. But cold environments also meant lighter sleep in certain phases, so a natural waking period happened, and instead of fighting it, people accepted it. There was no clock glowing at them, no notifications, no anxiety about productivity tomorrow, just darkness and stillness. And then, sleep returned naturally. What changed in America? Everything shifted with industrial schedules, artificial lighting, central heating, 9-to-5 workdays. By the time of the industrial boom in the late 1800s and early 1900s, Americans were expected to sleep in one continuous 7 to 8 hour block. Segmented sleep became labelled as insomnia, but biologically, it may never have been wrong. The modern anxiety trap. Today, when someone in the US wakes at 3 a.m., they often check the clock, calculate how many hours remain, grab their phone, trigger cortisol. That spike of stress is what prevents falling back asleep, not the waking itself. Ironically, the body might just be following an ancient rhythm. Could cold bedrooms help again? Research today suggests that slightly cooler bedrooms, around 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, support deeper sleep cycles, which is interesting, because early American homes were often colder than that. Maybe the cold wasn't the enemy. Maybe it was part of the design. The quiet hour. Imagine waking in a cold, silent room. No traffic noise, no buzzing electronics, just faint moonlight. You sit up, you breathe slowly, you don't rush, you don't check anything. After 20 to 40 minutes, your body gently slides back into sleep. This wasn't insomnia, it was rhythm. Now imagine this. A small stone room in a medieval village somewhere in what is now France. Thick walls, a simple wooden bed, a woven blanket, no insulation, no thermostat, no hum of electricity. Outside, the night air settles into the low 40s Fahrenheit. Inside, the air is cool, but steady. The stone has absorbed the warmth of the small hearth fire and releases it slowly. There is no blast of hot air, no sudden temperature spike, no dry, overheated bedroom. Just balance. This wasn't luxury. This was normal, and that normal environment may have quietly supported something modern. Bedrooms often disrupt deep, uninterrupted sleep. The body was designed for temperature drop. Modern sleep science, studied at places like Harvard Medical School, confirms something ancient people didn't need research to tell them. Your body needs to cool down to sleep deeply. Before you fall asleep, your core temperature naturally drops. Blood shifts toward the skin. Your hands and feet warm slightly as heat leaves the body. This temperature shift signals the brain that it's time to move into deeper stages of sleep. In overheated rooms, this process struggles. In cool environments, it happens effortlessly. Stone walls and cold floors didn't improve sleep by magic. They simply didn't fight biology. Why modern bedrooms often work against you. Think about a typical American bedroom today. Insulated walls, central heating, closed windows, synthetic bedding, climate set to 72 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit devices generating heat. Even if it feels comfortable at first, that temperature may be too high for optimal deep sleep. Research from institutions like National Sleep Foundation suggests ideal sleep temperatures fall between 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. That range would have felt perfectly normal in medieval homes. In other words, what we now call slightly cold used to be standard nighttime air. Stone as a natural temperature regulator. Stone as something modern drywall does not. Thermal mass. During the day, thick masonry absorbs heat. At night, it releases that warmth slowly and steadily. Medieval builders didn't use insulation foam or digital thermostats, yet their buildings maintained more stable temperature curves than many modern homes that swing between heating cycles. A house built with stone behaves almost like a battery. It stores warmth. It releases it gradually. It prevents sharp fluctuations. Compare that to forced air systems that turn on, blast heat, then turn off, creating micro-temperature spikes that subtly disturb sleep. Your nervous system notices those shifts, even if you don't consciously wake. Cold floors and circulation. Here's something fascinating. Cold stone floors would gently cool the body through the feet. Modern research shows that peripheral temperature, hands and feet, plays a significant role in sleep onset. Warm feet help you fall asleep faster, but slightly cooler ambient temperature helps you stay asleep longer. Medieval sleepers often wore wool socks or used thick blankets while the room remained cool. This combination is powerful. Core cool, extremities warm, air steady. It creates ideal conditions for deep non-REM sleep. No artificial dry heat. Modern heating dries indoor air. Dry air can irritate airways, increase snoring, cause nasal congestion, lead to subtle sleep fragmentation. Stone buildings with small hearth fires produced a very different moisture dynamic. The air wasn't bone dry from forced air systems. It was cool and often slightly humid, depending on the region. And humidity affects breathing quality during sleep. This matters more than most people realize. Darkness plus cool equals powerful signal temperature, and darkness work together. In a medieval stone home, thick walls blocked light. Windows were small. Nights were truly dark. Artificial light was minimal and dim. This supported melatonin release naturally. Combine that with cool air, and the brain receives a clear message. It is night. It is safe. It is time to sleep deeply. Modern homes often disrupt all three. Artificial light at night, warm rooms, screen exposure. We've altered the signals that once aligned perfectly with our biology. Did medieval people sleep better? This is where nuance matters. Life in the Middle Ages was not peaceful. Disease, stress, physical labour and danger were real. We shouldn't romanticize it. But purely from an environmental standpoint, cooler bedrooms, natural temperature decline, thick stone insulation, minimal artificial light, no electronic stimulation. These conditions closely match modern recommendations for deep sleep hygiene. What they lacked in comfort, they gained in biological alignment. The forgotten sleep advantage. There is something else we've lost: friction. When a bedroom is slightly cool, your body works just a little, not stressfully, not uncomfortably, but enough to maintain thermal regulation. That mild adaptive engagement may promote deeper slow-wave sleep. Modern climate control has eliminated nearly all environmental variation. We sleep in perfectly stabilized, artificially regulated boxes, and sometimes perfect comfort is not perfect biology. The cold floor effect on the nervous system. Cold surfaces stimulate the vagus nerve indirectly. Gentle cooling exposure can lower heart rate, improve parasympathetic activation, reduce nighttime stress signals. Medieval homes unintentionally provided mild cold exposure every night. Today, we see cold plunges and cryotherapy sessions. Back then, the architecture did it passively. Stone, sound, and silence. Thick stone walls also absorb and dampen sound. While medieval villages were not silent, stone construction reduced echo and softened outside noise compared to thin wooden structures. Noise fragmentation is one of the biggest hidden destroyers of deep sleep. Modern drywall transmits vibration easily. Apartments amplify it. Stone diffuses it. That subtle difference affects how often your brain micro-arouses during the night. What this means for your USA Sleep Channel audience. Since your audience is in the United States, this topic works beautifully because many Americans sleep in climate-controlled environments. Bedroom overheating is common in winter. Sleep issues are widespread. Ancient wisdom, mixed with science, performs well in CTR. And the angle isn't medieval life was better, it's what can we learn from stone walls and cold floors? That framing makes it fresh, unique, and psychologically intriguing. Practical takeaways you can share in the video. Instead of just history, you can end with actionable steps. Lower bedroom temperature to 62 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Use breathable natural fabrics, linen, wool, cotton. Allow slight cool air circulation. Avoid overheating the room before bed. Warm feet, cool room strategy. This transforms the video from curiosity to value. Why this topic has strong potential. How stone walls and cold floors improve sleep works because it combines ancient mystery, scientific validation, practical relevance, strong visual storytelling, emotional nostalgia. And most importantly, it challenges a belief. Warmer equals better sleep. That cognitive dissonance drives clicks. The deeper truth. We did not evolve in climate-controlled homes. We evolved in environments where night meant real darkness, air cooled predictably, buildings breathed, surfaces were natural, temperature fluctuated gently. Stone walls and cold floors weren't luxuries. They were part of the sleep ecosystem. And maybe, just maybe, modern comfort has quietly interrupted something our nervous systems still expect. Somewhere along the way, sleep stopped being natural. It became engineered, optimized, tracked, measured. In modern America, bedrooms are often warmer than the rest of the house. Floors are insulated, walls are padded, windows are sealed, air barely moves, comfort increased. But something subtle changed. For thousands of years, humans slept beside stone walls that slowly released the day's coolness. They lay on packed earth floors that absorbed excess heat from their bodies. They wrapped themselves in thick wool and linen because the air itself was cold. Sleep wasn't about perfect softness. It was about thermal balance. And that balance created something powerful: depth. Today, many people in cities like New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles fall asleep in rooms that are 72 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 22 to 24 degrees Celsius. But studies consistently show that deeper sleep often happens when the room is close to 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. Cooler air helps. Lower core body temperature, increase melatonin release, improve slow wave, deep sleep, reduce nighttime awakenings. The body has not changed much since medieval times, but our buildings have. In colonial America, early settlers in places like Boston or Philadelphia slept in drafty wooden or stone homes. In the Appalachian Mountains, families relied on thick quilts and fireplaces rather than central heating. Rooms cooled dramatically at night, and people adapted. They didn't eliminate the cold, they worked with it. There is something quietly powerful about allowing the room to cool after sunset. Not freezing, not uncomfortable, just cool enough that the body senses night has arrived. Stone walls used to signal that. Cold floors used to signal that. Now, thermostats try to simulate it, but many never adjust them. The modern sleep industry often tells us, buy this mattress, buy this supplement, buy this sound machine. But sometimes the solution is simpler. Lower the temperature, let the air breathe, allow the body to feel the shift from day to night. Even high-tech companies in places like Silicon Valley are rediscovering this truth. Engineers track sleep cycles with smart devices. Biohackers experiment with cold exposure. But centuries ago, people did not need a nap. Their environment did the work naturally. Imagine this, a medieval stone cottage. The hearth fire has dimmed to embers. The stone walls glow faintly in reflected orange light. The floor beneath is cool and steady. Outside, the night air slips gently through wooden shutters. Inside, a wool blanket traps warmth close to the skin. The air is cool, the body is warm, the mind slows, breathing deepens, sleep comes quietly. You do not need a castle to recreate this. You do not need stone walls, you only need awareness. Tonight, you might. Lower your thermostat slightly. Open a window if the air is cool. Turn off bright overhead lights earlier. Use layered blankets instead of overheating the room. Allow a small drop in temperature after sunset. Small shifts, ancient shifts, natural shifts. In the United States, sleep problems are common. Insomnia rates have risen. Late-night screen exposure has increased. Climate-controlled environments stay the same temperature all day. But the body evolved with contrast. Warm day, cool night, bright sun, dark room, heat, cold, cycle. Stone walls were not luxury. Cold floors were not design trends. They were part of the rhythm, and rhythm is what the nervous system understands. When the environment cools, the brain receives a signal. It is safe to rest. It is time to slow down. There is a quiet beauty in this. Sleep does not need to be conquered. It needs to be supported, not forced, not hacked, supported. So tonight, as you lie down in your room, wherever you are in America, maybe you imagine those old stone walls. Maybe you imagine cool air brushing against ancient cottages. Maybe you imagine a hearth's fading warmth. And maybe you allow your room to cool just a little. Let the air feel like night. Let your body remember something older than electricity, older than central heating, older than thermostats, older than cities. Because deep sleep is not modern. It is ancient. And sometimes the past quietly holds the answer. The fire fades, the room cools, breathing slows, stone holds silence, the floor beneath you steadies your warmth, and in that gentle balance, you drift, deep, calm, safe. Good night.